You've probably been through this. You're in some type of relationship with someone. This could be romantic, a friendship, or even family. And one day they just send you, "We need to talk." No context, no extra information. Just, "We need to talk." Reading those words, you may feel your heart rate increasing, or you may feel like you're sweating. You are experiencing fear. And with this fear, you are feeling a sense of losing control. Did I do something wrong? Did I make a mistake? Is something up? You don't know, and there is nothing you can do to change it. Jarro and Gotham Girl went through a very similar experience. And although they seem like some forgotten members of the Batfamily, they have a story to be told. So welcome to the Psychology of Fear, the Forgotten Batfamily members. Starro, the Star Conqueror, was the first villain of the Justice League. It's an alien starfish with telepathic abilities and regenerative healing. Starro eventually decided to redeem itself, so he helped the Justice League fight the evil Omega Titans. Starro sacrificed itself to save the universe. This way, Batman was able to take a genetic sample of Starro, which he kept in a jar to study. The cells would eventually grow, and Batman named it Jarro. Jarro spent quite some time with Batman, leading him to consider Batman as his father. He grew affectionate towards him and dreamed of being his partner in crime fighting. When the Legion of Doom grew more powerful, Jarro grew more afraid for the lives of the Justice League. In an attempt to save them, Jarro released mind control spores throughout the Hall of Justice to force the League to stay away from the Legion of Doom. While doing this, Jarro grew to a monstrous size. Batman told him that refusing to succumb to that fear and impose it on others is what makes them better than villains. Jarro agreed and shrunk back to its original size and released the League from its control. Gotham Girl, aka Claire Clover, was a fan of Batman after her family was saved by him. She and her brother Hank underwent experimental treatment that gave them powers like Superman. However, while using them, they would draw off their lifespan. This meant they could only live for 2 years with similar powers as Superman, or in hours with the powers of a god. This didn't stop them, and they operated as superheroes in Gotham under the aliases of Gotham and Gotham Girl. When Batman saved them from a plane crashing into the Gotham Bay, he took them under his wing. After a month or so of helping Batman, they were drawn to an explosion in the city. When investigating, they were confronted by Professor Strange and Psycho Pirate. Psycho Pirate can manipulate feelings, and he ensured that Gotham and Gotham Girl were very afraid. This caused Hank to take out 23 of the criminal's followers and Claire to be completely paralyzed by fear. One of the followers survived and killed the parents of Claire and Hank. Hank's fear made him go completely mad. So, Batman took Claire to the Batcave to help Hank. He eventually passed away by using his powers too much. Unfortunately, Claire started to experience similar effects. She started talking to herself as if she was having a conversation with her brother. Batman offered to help her cope with her trauma. In an attempt to restore her sanity, Batman sought out Psycho Pirate. However, Psycho Pirate manipulated her into joining Bane to destroy Batman on a more personal level. Bane took over Gotham City, and Gotham Girl was taken in by Flashpoint Batman as his Robin. She helped him bring the city under the control of supervillains. The real Batman eventually found her and was able to restore her sanity. Claire was exposed to platinum kryptonite, which restored her lost lifespan. There are a few similarities in their stories. Some common factors in the lives of Gotham Girl and Jarro are fear, losing control, and manipulation. Jarro felt afraid, and to keep a sense of control, he manipulated others. Gotham Girl was manipulated into feeling fear and therefore lost control. Fear is a primal emotion that evokes a biochemical and emotional response to a perceived threat. Feeling afraid is a protective response and a survival mechanism. It alerts us through physical reactions such as sweating, nausea, and an increased heart rate. We usually refer to this reaction as the fight or flight response. Your body is preparing itself to confront the danger or run away. Fear also includes an emotional response, which is more personal. Fear has some similar chemical reactions in our brains as positive emotions like excitement. Your friend may love bungee jumping while you dread the sight of heights. The causes of fear are quite complex. Anything can cause fear or anxiety. But one sensation that's quite common is the sense of losing control. As humans, we love control. It gives us a sense of autonomy and freedom. We get to make our own choices. However, when that freedom is taken away, we feel anxious and stressed. Something or someone is potentially going to harm us and it is out of our control. We can't do much to change the situation. We feel helpless. Losing control can be about all kinds of things. First of all, people can fear losing control over their emotions, such as too much anger. There's also a belief that people could lose control over all emotions and go crazy, even though that may not really be a thing. Then there is the fear of losing control over thoughts. Some people may have concerns about losing control over specific thoughts, such as aggressive or sexual intrusions. In the context of trauma, some people may fear losing control over memories. Third, people may fear losing control over bodily sensations. This is prevalent in people who struggle with panic attacks. They may feel early signs of distress and fear fainting or getting another panic attack. Lastly, people may also fear losing control over their belongings or other aspects of their surroundings. This can happen in people who hoard stuff, but also in relationships. People who are, for example, codependent can sometimes try to control others. When their partner seems to be leaving, their anxiety gets triggered because they cannot control the behavior of others. Losing control and fear go hand in hand. When someone fears losing control, they can get the sense that they are no longer in charge of one of the previously mentioned domains. This can cause fear or anxiety. They feel a need for order and predictability. They are vigilant and monitor their surroundings or themselves. This sensation of losing control activates a stress response that basically says, hey, the situation is probably kinda dangerous, so head out. This reaction is rooted in a sense of helplessness. There is this perceived inability to handle the situation. In the example of Jarro, he feels a very realistic sense of threat. The Legion of Doom is dangerous and he knows it. He feels this fear and the sense of losing control. Jarro can't control the actions of the Justice League, so in order to protect them and have some sense of control again, he uses his mind control powers on them. The thought of losing control, however, doesn't cause fear unless we add meaning to that thought. For some people, maintaining control is very important, for others, not so much. A question that may arise is if we actually ever lose control. I would argue that we do not, unless you're highly intoxicated or suffering from a psychotic episode. But even in an intoxicated state or in a state of rage, people do have some control. When someone gets drunk and starts a bar fight, they could explain it as losing control. But the most likely outcome is that they did not lose control, they just made decisions that they later came to regret, or they experienced something overwhelming. So they decided to do things that at the time felt within their control. This is of course not the case for people who are so intoxicated they lose consciousness. When people are engaging in behavior they might later view as out of control and they get interrupted, it's highly likely they will refrain from making the bad choice. Therefore, we can see being in control and losing control as a continuum in which both extremes are unlikely to happen. We're always somewhere in between. Unless your name is Gotham Girl, of course. Gotham Girl lost control because she was manipulated by a villain with emotion manipulation powers. Fear-mongering, however, is a very real thing. Fear-mongering is a manipulation tactic. People induce fears into others to get them to do what they want. Here is an example. Let's say you committed a crime and are about to go on trial. The prosecution suddenly comes with a plea bargain. Plead guilty and you'll get a nice cell for 5 years in a fairly good prison and then 5 more years of supervised release. If you don't take the deal, they will go for life in prison. Being afraid makes you vulnerable. You crave to fight or to flight, and in such a state it's almost impossible to think rationally. So you run to safety or whatever feels comfortable to you without thinking critically. Fear doesn't just make you vulnerable for manipulation, it could also make you manipulative. Manipulation is a defense mechanism often used to protect yourself and to avoid negative outcomes or emotions. We know it's harmful, but again, when you're in fear, you don't tend to think critically. Manipulation can happen in many different ways. One of them is lying. We lie to gain control over a situation or to cover our tracks. We lie to hide the hurtful things we've said or done. We lie because we're afraid of people rejecting us. We fear not being accepted by others or not being loved. We don't condone our hurtful actions and we reject ourselves. So subconsciously, we assume it's almost inevitable that others will reject us as well. We want to avoid this pain, so we do what it takes to avoid it. Another way manipulation is used as a defense mechanism is through disempowering people. You can belittle others or break them down just to feel a little bit better about yourself. This is a way of controlling others or the narrative. Controlling others gives the impression that we will reach the desired outcome, to be loved. We feel out of control within ourselves, so we try to dominate others, just like Jarro and maybe even Psycho Pirate. We have the feeling of losing control when we feel like we have no choice. We have no freedom to be who we want to be or to do what we fancy. Another hero who fought for his independence is Nightwing. If you're interested in the psychology of Nightwing and how being a sidekick affected him, I suggest you watch this video next. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!